Sometimes you don't pray for fireworks. You don't ask God for butterflies, or drama, or a love that feels like a roller coaster. Somewhere along the way, after enough chaos, enough confusion, enough almost, what you actually start praying for is peace. Just peace. And when it finally shows up, it's easy to almost miss it, because peace doesn't announce itself loudly the way chaos does. It doesn't come with a grand entrance. It just quietly settles in and stays, and a lot of women don't even recognize it at first because they've never actually experienced it before. So today, I'm breaking down the signs he's the peace you prayed for, plus a bonus sign at the end that ties everything together. Stick around till the end, because number 4 is the one that quietly proves everything else on this list. 1. Your mind feels quiet around him. This is the first and honestly the clearest sign. Think about relationships that left you anxious. Relationships where your mind was constantly working overtime, replaying conversations, wondering where you stood, analyzing a text that took too long to come back, building entire scenarios in your head out of a single delayed reply. That's not love. That's low-grade panic dressed up as passion. And a lot of women mistake that anxiety for how much they care, when really it's just how unsafe the relationship actually feels underneath the surface. But when he's the peace you prayed for, your mind actually quiets down around him. You're not overthinking every silence. You're not bracing yourself for something to go wrong the moment things feel too good. There's a stillness in your thoughts that you might not have even realized you were missing until it showed up, until one day you notice you haven't replayed a conversation in weeks because there's simply nothing to replay. That quiet isn't boring. That quiet is what safety actually feels like. And it's usually the first thing you notice once you finally have it, even if it takes a while to trust that it's real. 2. He doesn't create unnecessary chaos. The second sign is what's missing, not what's present. He's not picking fights over nothing just to feel some kind of intensity. He's not creating confusion, mixed signals, or unnecessary drama that keeps you emotionally unsteady, wondering where you stand from one day to the next. A lot of people mistake chaos for chemistry, because chaos does feel intense. It does feel like something. It keeps your heart racing, even if it's for all the wrong reasons. But peace feels different. Peace feels like calm conversations instead of constant arguments. It feels like clarity instead of confusion, like knowing exactly where you stand without having to guess or interpret his every move like a puzzle. If your relationship isn't full of unnecessary ups and downs, if it feels steady more often than it feels turbulent, that steadiness is not a red flag, and it's definitely not a sign that something's missing just because it doesn't feel dramatic. That steadiness is the answer to a prayer you might not have even said out loud, because you didn't know peace was something you were even allowed to ask for. 3. You feel safe being fully yourself. The third sign is that you don't feel like you're performing around him. You're not editing yourself, softening your opinions, or hiding parts of who you are out of fear of how he'll react or what he'll think. You can be tired, unfiltered, fully human. Show up without makeup, without your best mood, without your most polished self, and he doesn't make you feel smaller for it. This kind of safety is rare, and it's easy to undervalue if you've never had it before, because you might not even realize how much energy you were spending pretending in past relationships until you're finally in one where you don't have to anymore. You didn't know how tired that performance was making you until it finally stopped. When you can exhale and just be yourself completely without bracing for judgment, criticism, or rejection, that's not a small thing. That's peace showing up in the most personal, intimate way possible, in the space where you're most vulnerable. 4. He's consistent, not confusing. This is the one that quietly proves everything else on this list, because consistency is really the foundation peace is built on. He says what he means. He does what he says. There's no guessing game, no wondering which version of him you're going to get today, no emotional whiplash between who he was yesterday and who he is this morning. A lot of women have learned to accept confusion as normal, because they've never experienced anything else. Because every relationship before this one taught them that uncertainty is just part of the deal. But confusion is not romance, and mixed signals are not mystery. They're just instability, wearing a nicer outfit, dressed up to look like complexity when really it's just unpredictability. When a man is consistent, predictable in a good way, the same today as he was yesterday and the same next month as he is now. That consistency is what allows peace to actually take root and stay, instead of showing up for a while and then quietly disappearing again the moment things get comfortable. 5. He makes rest feel possible again. This sign is one a lot of women don't even realize they're craving until they finally get it. In relationships built on stress or uncertainty, you're always working, managing his moods, keeping the peace, staying alert, trying to prevent the next disagreement before it happens. There's no actual rest in that, even during the calm moments, because part of you is always on guard. But a man who's the peace you prayed for makes rest feel possible again. Around him, you're not managing anything. You're not performing emotional labor just to keep things stable. You can actually relax, fully, without a low hum of anxiety running in the background of every good moment. If you've noticed yourself sleeping better, feeling less tense, actually looking forward to being around him instead of bracing for what mood he might be in, that rest is not a small thing. That's your nervous system finally being allowed to settle, and that kind of rest is one of the purest forms peace can take in a relationship. Bonus sign, you stop bracing for impact. Here's a bonus sign worth mentioning, because it's less about him and more about what happens inside you over time. If you've been in chaotic or uncertain relationships before, your body and your instincts probably learned to brace for impact, waiting for the other shoe to drop even during good moments, unable to fully relax into happiness because happiness used to be followed by disappointment. But when he's genuinely the peace you prayed for, that bracing slowly starts to fade. You notice yourself actually enjoying good moments without the automatic fear that they're about to be ruined. You stop waiting for a catch. That shift, from constantly guarding your heart to finally being able to soften it, is one of the clearest signs that what you're in now is fundamentally different from what came before, and it usually happens so gradually you don't notice it until you look back and realize how much lighter you feel. Closing. So let's recap. Your mind feels quiet around him. He doesn't create unnecessary chaos. You feel safe being fully yourself. He's consistent, not confusing. He makes rest feel possible again. And somewhere along the way, you stop bracing for impact, because you finally trust that the good isn't about to be taken away. None of these come with fireworks, and that's actually the point. Real peace was never supposed to feel like chaos. It was supposed to feel like relief, like finally being able to breathe, like putting something heavy down that you didn't even realize you were still carrying. If you're recognizing these signs in your relationship, that might genuinely be your answered prayer standing right in front of you, quiet, steady, and easy to miss only because you were taught to expect something louder. Peace isn't boring. Peace is what you were praying for the whole time, even if you didn't have the words for it back then. If this helped you, drop a like, subscribe for more relationship content every week, and let me know in the comments which one of these resonated most with you. See you in the next video.